jungle today and I wanted to take you on a little tour of feeding the street dogs. I feed about 80 every day. We're doing it from the back of the moped with freshly cooked food, and I wanted to show you some of the locations and characters that I feed every day and where it is they exactly get their food. Backdrop is stunning. Some of them live in the jungle, some of them live in little shacks, some of them live on the streets. A real mixture, and I just wanted to show you exactly how it is they survive their days and we help them a little bit. You hungry, everybody? You hungry, doggies? Now, if you look at these guys, these are the introverts behind me. People who follow me on Instagram will know them well. They're actually completely wild dogs, so I've never been able to touch them. I've been feeding them for a year, and they live in the middle of the jungle. Absolutely middle of nowhere, no houses. So they rely completely on the food that I bring them and the medicines. The introverts are what I would consider more wild dogs. They could scavenge for food. They could go to houses that are, you know, a few hundred meters away and scavenge, but they like to stay to themselves in the jungle. They're a little pack, very defensive of each other. Nobody would come into their territory because we are absolutely in the middle of the jungle, as you can see here. But they're happy here. I also have a water source. There's a stream just down at the back there. So as long as their food gets delivered every day, but more importantly is the medicine that I bring. If they had any major injuries, we'd treat them, but the tick and flea medicine, their deworming, all the little things that dogs need to stay healthy is what they get. Really, the biggest worry that the dogs have out here is the road. It's the one thing that I'd be always nervous for them. They live at the brow of a little hill. There's cars coming, as you can see behind me. And as much as I try and move them or take them away from the road, this is where they want to live. You can't tell them where to live. But you can see how fast the cars come past, big trucks. It is a scary situation for these dogs. And one of the most common injuries that we'll see are little leg breaks, or they get a whack off a car and it might sort of hurt them internally. Introverts, luckily, are a very smart pack of dogs. They live just up on these rocks, like just off the road, but they do insist on eating there and stay very much close to the road. Now, this group of dogs is Grumpy, Hoover, and there's about 7 or 8 more who will arrive in a minute. There's Dyson on his way down the hill. They actually live up in this abandoned house up here, so they've got a really nice villa basically to themselves. There's about 12 of them who live in there, and I whistle them to come down for their food. So they do have a really nice, safe place to live. The only problem that might happen there is that somebody might move into that villa, and that's when the problem starts. Once humans get in the way is when the dogs start to struggle. But I've been feeding these guys for a year and they're as happy as can be. Now, everybody gets their pile of food. Some of them have to wait a little bit longer. You can see little Michelle here is a little bit shyer. She's further down the pecking order of the food, aren't you, darling? Grumpy is the top dog here, as you can see. She's growling. She decides who eats first. She's let those two eat first, which is good. But there's no major arguments here. It's good to have a strong pack leader like Grumpy because she ensures that there's order amongst all the dogs. Now, what you'll often find is that the dogs, I know these two dogs live with a woman who tolerates the dogs. It doesn't mean that they're going to get fed or medicines all the time, but it does mean that she allows us to feed them. So these are two very lucky dogs because they get the best of both worlds. They have a little safe place to live, but they also get fed. What you'll often find is the dogs want attention just as much as they want food. So this is Bambi and her little sister. They always love to say hello to somebody they know. The one thing that I worry about with them the most also is the bikes. They live also in the middle of the jungle. There's a little shed here, a little sort of garden shed. Nobody lives there, but they take shelter in there if it rains. All around them is jungle. There's a couple of little houses where they kind of got chased out of. The locals didn't want them there. But they do pretty well up here. They're street dogs. They don't have owners, but you can see how friendly they are. They let you play with their ears. I'll check her ears. I can look at their teeth. I can touch them. I can just generally check their health. So once you get to know them, they do become friendly. They might not be friendly to everybody that they don't know because they are wary, but just as friendly as any pet that you could ever wish for. Is that delicious, Bambi? Is that delicious? No wonder you're so big. You can see that they're so healthy. They get all their medicines. They've been sterilized. They have a water source and everything they could ever wish for. The only thing they would like is an owner. They genuinely would like an owner, I think, but they have each other. You can see with these dogs is that they live with this lovely lady here who is Thai. She's obviously doesn't have loads of money. It's a small shack, but she lets us keep the dogs here and feed them. But here they're safe, apart from big bites. Big bites are the biggest worry that we have for all these little dogs out here. And you can see one of them is a little puppy, which is obviously extremely dangerous for the puppy, but they do get food, they get medicine, and they get looked after. But the bikes are a constant worry. These puppies actually live, believe it or not, that is somebody's house, that little shack over there. They live underneath it, which might not seem fantastic, but for us feeding them, it's actually a godsend because they've got somewhere dry. They've got some humans who, although they might not be the wealthiest in the world, they like dogs, so we can support them with food, we can support them with medicines. The kids who are hanging out over there are very friendly with the dogs. They don't get this warm reception everywhere, the street dogs, so it's a lovely combination for us to have somewhere safe for little puppies like this. It's not exactly luxurious, but the good thing is that they're kind to dogs, which just shows you it doesn't matter how much money you have in life. Some people are kind to animals and some are not. Now this is one of the busier stops. You can see there's dogs pretty much everywhere. There's more competition for food at this spot. You can see a lot of dogs. Big Stan in there is already the boss. He's in charge. So these lovely boys and girls are actually waiting for their dinner. Aren't you, mister? You're just waiting to patiently get yours. And he knows that there's plenty there, but there is a hierarchy to the dogs. Once Big Stan has finished eating, the rest of them can eat. You're cleaning up the bike. There's a little bit of spilt food there, but there's enough to go around for everybody.